I'm Dr. Flaherty, the chair of the Department of Finance. We're joined by Dr. Rachel Gordon, who's a finance faculty member, Ms. Roisin Donegan, who is a really important person in our college, professional development partner and advisor to finance students. And last but not least, Ms. Donna Rogers, who is going to be a very important person in your life in the future. Should you firm up your choice of finance, she is the administrative assistant in our department and handles all enrollment issues. So really an important person. So our department hosts 3 concentrations, really. We use that term concentration or track. It's another word for major, and there's some political reasons why we can't use the word major. So just know if you hear the terminology concentration or track, it really just means the same thing as major. We host the general finance degree, which tends to be more corporate in nature. We have the investments major, which it does exactly what it sounds like. It's more focused on particular asset classes, such as stocks, bonds. The capstone course in it is a portfolio management course. And last but not least, we have a financial planning major where students get prepped up to take the certified financial planning designation. And they take all the courses to become wealth management advisors or financial planning advisors. Oh, internship programs. Well, we actually have a required internship, which you'll take in your senior year. And I'm going to let Ms. Donegan talk a little bit about that because that's her area of specialty. And she will be your connection when it comes time to determine what your internship will be. Go ahead, take it away.
Thanks, Dr. Flaherty. My name is Roisin Donegan. I'm the finance professional development partner, and yes, the final semester you'll take a class called the BizX 460 class, which is your internship class, and you are required to find an internship of 120 hours per semester, roughly 10 hours per week, and you will be doing the BizX 460 class in Towson University in conjunction with the internship. And part of my role as professional development partner, not only do I do academic advising, helping you visualize your class roadmap to graduation, but I also do a lot of professional development with our students. So I am relationship building with industry all the time, with all the finance companies, big finance companies such as Morgan Stanley, T. Rowe Price, One Main Financial, Northwestern Mutual, and also smaller financial planning companies and also investment companies. And they are all very, very keen to hire Towson students. We usually suggest to you to start your internship search around junior standing year, and build up connections and build relationships that will help you when you need to secure the BizX 460 internship. But I am here to help. I'm on the 3rd floor in the Student Academic and Career Services Department, and here to help you with your resume, your cover letter, and reaching out to finance companies to secure your internship.
Besides the required course for an internship, you can always do another internship. We really strongly encourage you to do as many as you can. And there's an alternate class that is an elective, so to speak, that you can take it won't count for your BizX 460, the required internship, but it helps you to get credit for additional internships that you would take.
Also, just to build on that, Dr. Flaherty, the SACS office, CBE, host CBE career fairs every fall and spring. And we just had our spring career fair on the 28th of February, and we hosted 30 plus financial companies and marketing companies in the Baltimore, Washington area. And we had a footfall of about 150 students, so really successful spring career fair, and a lot of students, particularly finance students, made a lot of great connections there.
So have you looked, Jose, this is right to you. Oh, this semester, we won't be on campus this semester in the spring due to the COVID-19 issue, but we're hoping later on in the summer. that everybody will be back where they're supposed to be, more towards July and August, as long as we get clearance from both the government and the administration. So we'll see. Maybe you can come and visit then if you haven't already.
Even though we're home based for the moment due to the current situation, we are still relationship building with partners, with finance companies. I've actually attended a lot of Zoom sessions with our partner finance companies. I attended one just last week with Northwestern Mutual. They have a fantastic internship program, fantastic financial planning actually internship program, really great stuff, and they are really looking for 1,000 students even in this current climate. So a good news story there.
So Jose, are you going to be a transfer student, or are you coming to Towson as a freshman? Oh, transfer student. Okay. So do you have any questions regarding things that you might see as a transfer student? Ms. Donegan will be really integral in your transfer process. So if you're concerned about picking courses, getting to know the culture of the College of Business and Economics, or where to get a cup of coffee. Any of us could probably answer that one, but she's going to be especially important in helping you to pick classes. So every student, by the time they reach 60 credits, has to have something called a degree completion plan. And Ms. Donegan is going to be the one that's going to help you formulate that when you enter in your transfer orientation. So maybe, Ms. Donegan, you can talk a little bit about that, what will happen to the transfer student when they come up for orientation.
Absolutely, Dr. Flaherty, thank you. Hi, Jose, I'm looking forward to meeting you. We'll be hosting transfer orientations in July and August during the summer. And initially, we will be preparing you for the transfer orientation days. In the SACS department, each PDP will be preparing an advising form. And on the day of your transfer orientation, you'll get your dates from the Towson University Admissions Office. You will attend the transfer orientation, you will be given a campus tour, you will be you will meet all the PDPs in relation to the concentration, for example, myself, finance. You will be given an overview of Towson University, the culture, student organizations, you'll be shown the campus map, you'll really find out a lot about student life, about how it is to become a Tiger in Towson University. And we will present the advising forms during the orientation, and we will assist you with actually signing up for your classes for the fall semester during that orientation. Each PDP works with students to select classes that will help them progress towards their major concentration admission, usually at the end of the first semester in Towson, depending on where you are in your transfer process. And we'll also suggest some core requirements from that curriculum for you to sign up with as well. So it's a great day for transfer students here or on the Towson campus, and really looking forward to talking to you guys then.
Dr. Gordon, can you tell us a little bit about the finance classes?
Absolutely. And I was actually just going to tag on real quick to transfer orientation, because I usually end up volunteering for at least a couple of those orientation sessions, and they're a lot of fun. They're a good way to meet some of the transfer students that are all interested in finance and get to talk to them and help, walk them through the class process. And so at the transfer orientations, when you'll actually sign up for your classes, and then the cool part, at least in my point of view, that happens is once you've been admitted to the major after that, usually that first semester, you become part of the, what I call the finance gang. And in a positive term, that you get assigned a finance advisor. Roisin does a great job of handing you guys off to us, and then we get to build a relationship with you for the next several years as well, where we help formulate classes depending on what your interests are, whether it's corporate investments, financial planning, whatever that track is, and get to see you both in the classroom and out of the classroom, which is, I think, pretty cool. But in general, the classes that you're going to sign up for will be signed up for at orientation. And then after that point, you'll have your degree completion plan, and you will meet with your advisor and work to sign up for your classes every semester after that on your own. But you'll have a plan to be able to work with your advisor in the finance department at that point to help, figure out what classes to take. And there's always some structure, and we try to help navigate whether you should be taking the fixed income class, or if you want to take the portfolio management class, or any of the, the cool classes that we have to offer in general. I just saw some other question.
What advice would you give to rising freshmen? I would say this to anyone entering college: get involved. Those are two really important words. Be curious, get involved. If you know that you want to get a business degree, there's nothing stopping you from getting involved in the student activities, student clubs that the college offers, and in particular finance. So if you know that, hey, I'm a freshman, I already know that I want to be a finance major, we have a lot of different clubs. We have women in finance, women in business. We have the Financial Management Association. We have the Towson University Investment Group, which is a group of undergraduate students that manage a couple $100,000 of the Towson University's foundational money. So those are just a couple things, but in general, just get involved, meet people, try things out. And again, if you know CB is for you and finance is where you're at, even though you're not going to be in our building, Stevens Hall, as a freshman, probably very much, maybe for economics a little later on and accounting, you still can come and join those clubs and get started very quickly. And it's a nice way to meet both faculty and other students and get student advice. Peer-to-peer conversations are really important, and that can help you make decisions. Besides who they think is the best professor and who you should avoid, there. Well, there's no irony in that because Dr. Gordon is one of our best professors, but you should definitely get going on that.
And just to tack onto that, with regards to being involved, especially I think the business school and especially finance compared to some of the other majors and other colleges at Towson, you really get what you put into it. And so the more you put into it, the more that you will get out. And the really nice thing about being involved as a freshman in some of these organizations that Dr. Flaherty mentioned, like the investment group, is you start to kind of learn that pathway such that if you want to be the portfolio manager by your junior, senior year, you can, because you've already been in the club for a couple of years and you can take on those leadership roles a lot easier. And also a lot of our student groups, both within finance and in the College of Business in general, do pull in a lot of speakers from the area outside Towson and around Towson that are from firms you've heard of, JP Morgan and investment groups in Northwestern, and, you name it, we've probably pulled in someone to talk to a student group about that. And so it's a great way to meet the people that are involved in the industry. And there's also competitions that we have in the College of Business. And you don't always have to be in classes to be part of the competitions. One of the things in finance we do is the CFA Research Challenge. And, there's nothing that says you have to wait till you're a senior to be involved in the Research Challenge. And so getting in and getting involved at a freshman, sophomore, at whatever point you think that this, even if you're not sure 100%, really helps facilitate the careers and the students I've seen that have had really great internships, not just as part of the BizX 460, but also in their junior years and even after the sophomore summer years, are the ones that have been active and engaged in the classroom and in the college itself.
Also, thank you, Dr. Gordon. To build on what Dr. Gordon is saying, involvement in student organizations, finance organizations, is a great resume builder. Hiring companies love to see student engagement. Indeed, the TU Investment Group had the opportunity, as Dr. Flaherty has mentioned, to get a write-up in the Business Review Journal. I hosted a Women in Finance virtual session there during the week. Some great students involved in that, and they have a great story to tell in their resume and a great way to secure internships, which eventually will could go on to be a full-time position. So it really gives you a great story to tell in your interviews. So I couldn't talk more about it. I highly recommend student involvement.
All right, no new questions right now. So I just thought I would mention a little bit about our class sizes, which tend to be pretty small. They're usually on average around 30. That would be the average, but a lot of the upper level, kind of senior level classes tend to be a bit smaller, such as Dr. Gordon's portfolio management, but they're generally pretty small. And one of the reasons that we're focused on keeping small classroom sizes or the ratio low between students and teachers is because we tend to be, the classes are busy. You are going to be busy within the course and outside of the course doing all of your follow-up homework and that. And what I mean by that is we employ a lot of technology within our classrooms, in particular something called a Bloomberg terminal, which is essentially, called a terminal because you had to buy a terminal, a computer terminal, many, many years ago. Now, Bloomberg is kind of a software package that can be used on computers that is web accessed, but it is the industry standard within the profession of finance. And we have the T-Row Finance Lab, where we have quite a few of them, and students are busy on those while they are in class, and they're using them to complete homework assignments. At the end of their degree, students attain the Bloomberg modules certification, which says that they have the basic skills to run a Bloomberg terminal. If you end up in any type of position in finance, you will come across what is called the Bloomberg terminal, and it is a source of finance information, everything from macroeconomic data to firm-specific data, and everything in between. So it's a primary information source for industry professionals, and our students are trained on them. So very busy, and Dr. Gordon uses those quite a bit. What would you think what would you say the reaction is to use of the Bloomberg terminals in the students' work?
I think a lot of the students don't realize the capabilities that some of these softwares have for them. And so, especially in the portfolio management class, which is an upper level class, the students are pretty awed and amazed by what the capabilities of Bloomberg can do, in the sense that we, form portfolios and we do equity back testing to see, how our portfolio would have performed, and all of these functions that they're not really familiar with, and they become familiar with, and they're like, oh, there's an easier way to do all these things than I thought. And, a lot of what we're showing them in class and what we're teaching them and using them to apply does transfer to when they're in internships and when they're looking for jobs. And they get these questions from companies that say, hey, do you even know what Bloomberg is? And they're like, well, not only do I know it, but I know how to use it. So it's been usually a pretty positive, receptive thing for students to learn. And it doesn't take that much additional time to learn new software, but it's a skill that's definitely worthwhile for them to be having.
Do any of our attendees have any specific questions that they want to ask anybody on the panel?
I saw, the question of what other certifications could be received. So the way our program is designed, you will leave with the Bloomberg kind of base concept certification, but our programs are actually, the investment track is actually CFA aligned, and our other programs are CFA aligned, such that we set you up for pretty good success to be able to sit for level 1 of the CFA exam, either in the middle point of your senior year or at the end of your senior year. We have, a growing number of students that are starting to do that. And we actually can offer scholarships in the finance department because we have several faculty members that are CFA charter holders themselves. And also our financial planning track is aligned with the CFP program. And that, thank you, Dr. Flaherty, sorry. for letting me know. Chartered Financial Analyst, which is kind of the gold standard of certifications if you're doing anything in the investment realm or portfolio or wealth management area. And then our financial planning track is aligned with the CFP program, the Certified Financial Planner program that you can actually sit for that CFP. Once you've finished the program, it has all of the courses that you need to sit for the CFP exam and become eligible. And that's the, gold standard of certifications as far as if you're going into wealth management or wealth planning or portfolio planning as well. And so both of our programs really do align nicely to both of those certifications, which are really prevalent in the industry. If you take a look at job announcements or postings for, name an investment banker, name a firm and a financial firm and look for what their certifications are, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, CFP desired or, in that track. And it's one of those certifications that does take a while to build. And so our programs are aligned with those types of certifications.
And I would just add one thing on there, because we are a designated program for the Chartered Financial Analyst certification. And we have a CFA within the faculty, which is Dr. Ying Shao. We have the ability to offer 12 scholarships, 12 exam scholarships, which is a really big deal because you have to take 3 exams to attain the charter, and they can be very expensive. So as a department, we can connect you with the prep groups, Kaplan, Wiley, and the like, and provide a discount, help you get a discount on prep materials. But the CFA scholarships, to take those exams, they're over $1,000. It cuts it down by 75%. So it's a significant scholarship for a student to be awarded. And that comes from our department, from the faculty within our department. So it's a really nice opportunity for our students.
Also, just to build on that, Dr. Flaherty, in terms of the business major in general, it is fantastic because students do get the opportunity to acquire the Excel certification, a marketing certification, and an SAP certification, and all of those skills are extremely beneficial for application in the working world, indeed for the internships as well, and great resume builders also.
If you choose to do the investments track or the financial planning track, both again designated by the appropriate quote unquote authorities, you are set up to start those exams. And that is not something that many schools offer. There's really only one other school in the entire region that offers a financial planning degree. So it's a rarity, and our program is rare in that it's designated. And we'll bring up financial planning a lot because that is the fastest growing area for jobs in finance. It is projected to outpace most other types of jobs within the finance industry. So that's why we're trying to be proactive and get that major established with the students and get them on their way to taking that CFP designation, because it's really important. All right. Well, I guess we could talk a little bit about CVE in general, or the Department of Finance. So the Department of Finance is about 300 students, but we serve usually over 1,000 per year just in courses, the introductory courses, but our majors and minors are probably about 300, 350. So that also contributes to a small class size. I will say that sometimes students are not expecting that the business school degrees are screened. So Ms. Donegan can probably speak about that, this idea of us being a screened major. So that might be helpful for our transfer students and our freshman students. If you could speak on that.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Flaherty. The finance major and indeed other concentrations within the CVE business school, with the exception of economics, is screened. So you will be required to take your 6 lower level requirement subjects. Many transfer students already have the majority, if not all of them, covered by the time they come here for orientation. But the CVE requirement for entry into the finance major requires a 2.7 across 6 subjects. Very quickly would be economics, financial and managerial economics, accounting 201, economics 201, 202, legal, and statistics and calculus. So that's the 2.7 in those 6 lower level requirements, and also a TU cumulative of 2.0 for admission into the finance major. And that's generally achieved by students by the end of the sophomore term.
Well, Ms. Donegan, what if calculus seems a little scary? What if I don't do well the first time around? Does that mean I can't get in the major?
So thank you, Dr. Flaherty. We do have a repeat policy, and students can repeat 2 subjects and a 3rd attempt on 1 subject to get into the finance major and other concentrations as well. And indeed, we have a lot of support. We have PAL sessions, which are peer tutorial sessions set up by students. And also we have the Learning and Tutoring Centre in the Cook Library that offers tutoring sessions for all the lower level requirement subjects to assist students, particularly in calculus and statistics that can often be quite tough to get the minimum requirement for admission to the business school. And I will be talking to students as part of my advising meetings. We go through the lower level requirements and how to achieve the 2.7. We will look at the class selection per semester, and we'll look at the best ways to achieve those entry requirements, and we will build in tutoring sessions where needed as well.
That's a good question. How long is the program? How long does it take to graduate? You can successfully complete a degree in through the Department of Finance in 4 years. In fact, we strongly encourage you, if you have the interest, if you are interested in the investments concentration, and you think you might be interested in financial planning, you can actually do those together and essentially, quote unquote, double major within our department and still graduate in 4 years. So we try very hard to get people out in 4 years because it is both a time consideration and a financial consideration for our students. So 4 years. But I will say that you should follow Ms. Donegan's advice when she sets up your schedule for you, and she will set that up for you is when you come in as the coming into the business school. She's going to set that up for the remaining time you have with us. So make sure you follow it and follow her advice. She'll keep you on the right track.
Thank you, Dr. Flaherty. Yes, indeed. Transfer students come in. You know, graduation date is of paramount importance, as it is for all students in Towson University. And the PDPs, myself and my colleagues, work very hard to meet the needs of students for graduation date, and we'll look at all the semesters available and all the subject choices available and when they're offered to get you to graduate in as an efficient time frame as possible. So I look forward to building the degree completion plan, DCPs, with you to map out your academic trajectory to your graduation date.
So in short, yes, it is possible as a transfer student. You can do it. Ms. Donegan will get it done for you as long as you get your side done. So you'll be fine.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
If you have more questions in the future, there are a few places that you can go. You can contact us at cbefinance@towson.edu. You can also contact Ms. Donegan if you want to, and that, I think you're just R. Donegan.
Just R. Donegan at towson.edu. Yeah, absolutely. And my contact information is on this the SACS website, CB SACS website.
I'm trying to think of what else might be of importance for you guys as you try and make your decision. One thing I would highlight, which we tend not to think so much about, but is very true, is this idea that Towson really has this small college feel within a large university. So you may have heard that already, but really our class sizes and the level at which we get to know our students feels more like a small college environment. So we really pride ourselves on that. We pride ourselves, all of us, everybody on this panel prides themselves as being a teacher in some capacity or another. And that is really important to us to share the information. And we really want students to feel welcome in our department. And that's why we're saying, come in early. If you're a freshman, if you're a transfer student, you don't know where to get started, any one of us is happy to help you get there, or to make suggestions to you about what might be a good place for you to start, what club might be of interest to you, and then you can just take off from there. You won't need us for very long. Once you get your feet wet in the college, you'll be in good shape. So Dr. Gordon, how welcoming are you in your classrooms?
So I tend to teach both a 300 level class and a 400 level class. And then between seeing students as they're, it's juniors and seniors, it's really fun to me to build that relationship over semesters. And so I'll frequently see students multiple semesters. They don't get sick of me the first time they take me, and they'll sign up for my classes again. And it allows me really to develop a good rapport with the students, where we end up talking about, internships and life in general and complications of finance. And we bring up, Wall Street Journal articles and talk about how the markets are going to pot because it's currently all crazy in the world. But we have a lot of fun in the finance department. I think we have a lot of fun in our classes of trying to have students think outside the box and get them thinking about how finance impacts their lives and their career choices. And we bring students along with us, and it's a lot of fun.
So can you tell us a little bit about, you've been engaged with some of the clubs. What are some of the things that the clubs have been up to, and your experience?
It's been really nice to see the student engagement from the club level. So the Women in Finance group is a relatively new group on campus. It got started last year, actually, by a student who, really wanted to bring in speakers, speaking mainly to the women's point of view of things in finance, because it tends to be a little bit more male dominated and different challenges. And, I got emails from them as soon as we went to this online learning environment this semester that's like, okay, we want to keep meeting. We want to keep ensuring that we have guest speakers. What can we do? And it's been really nice to see who they've reached out to and who they've got support from. Merrill Lynch has been a big supporter of them and other companies. And so that's been a really cool organization. I've led the CFA Research Challenge the last couple of years, and that's always fun, which is where a team of students basically does a competition, and they, analyze a company, something that we do in classes, but this is competing against other universities in the regional level. And then the winner of the regional level actually goes on to the national and then the international level. And that's a pretty fun process for a lot of the students to compete in. Last year they did Northrop Grumman, I think, or that might have been 2 years ago. My brain's going slowly, so I apologize. But, and this year was T. Rowe Price, and that's a cool, they always do a local company. So students get to meet usually high level C-suite individuals in those companies and participate on that level. And then the, Financial Management Association Club, as well as the Towson Investment Group, have brought in a lot of speakers that have either been on the corporate side of things or from, some of the local, like T. Rowe Price and companies, to speak to different aspects of finance. And so there's a club for everyone, depending on what you're interested in. And clubs are obviously open to everybody, and they have a lot of speakers that come in. And I know that, some of the clubs have been working with, Miss Donegan to try to make sure that they're as ready as possible for what are the types of interview prep they can do for internships and how to look professional and dress professional. And we try to make sure that the students get that perspective, because it's not just about what, it's about how you act and, how you present yourself and the knowledge that you have and how you can work to actually elucidate that knowledge to everybody. And so the clubs are really cool. There's a lot to be involved with.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Gordon. And one thing I'd just like to highlight is that there's a great Tiger culture here, and there's great support here. And I actually am fairly new to TES, and I joined last June. And I didn't actually realize that the Women in Finance group was such a new finance group, because they have done some great things in the year since I've been here. And they've had a Morgan Stanley speaking series, for example. I've spoken twice, and they have great initiatives going on every single month. So that really highlights to me an example where students with an idea can get together and faculty will support them, and the Greater Towson University will support them to really have a great organization to put on their resume and a great talking point with future employers. And really, the finance industry is all about networking, networking, networking. So to be able to start in such a proactive way while you're a student is a fantastic springboard to a fantastic career in finance. So I'd like to thank Dr. Gordon and Dr. Flaherty for their immense support as a finance faculty for our finance students. And I hear such positive feedback all the time in my student meetings. So as a PDP, I'm very privileged to be part of that.
Do our panelists have anything else they would like to say in the remaining minutes? Maybe some highlights or anything that you think the students might be interested in?
If I may, Dr. Flaherty, would like to just share, I have here a first destination outcome for the class of 2019 for finance. And there's some really great things for finance students when they graduate. Of the class of 2019, 73% of the students entered in a full-time capacity into the workforce in a full-time capacity, 10% in a part-time capacity, and 10% went on to continue in education. But let me just say that 90% are in positions directly associated with their long-term goals. Top employers for TU students, just to pick a few that are finance focused, we have Wells Fargo, T. Rowe Price, Morgan Stanley, Northwestern Mutual, Merrill Lynch. So, fantastic opportunities for finance students. And also just to thank Donna Rogers, Ms. Rogers, for her continued support. She is such a fantastic liaison between the SACS department and the finance department. Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, I would also add too, just to piggyback on what Ms. Donegan was saying, that our students do very well, and generally their salaries are in a range of about $45,000 to $65,000, depending on, kind of the position that they get, the level of responsibility. Also, if they've done maybe the first step in a certification or not. Again, we may have mentioned that we really support certifications. We have scholarships for them, and we're encouraging students to attain them. And also what helps that is, for example, in the financial planning community, we are highly engaged with the financial planning community. And given that this area kind of from really Baltimore to Virginia is a pretty wealthy area relative to the rest of the country, financial planning is really important. So we get lots of financial planning firms around here that offer scholarships to TU students and are engaged and provide shadow days and things like that, because they need people to have a major in financial planning and be ready to go to get that certified financial planning distinction. So there are lots of job opportunities here, highly paid job opportunities, and we're going to help you guys get there along the way. So any other questions? No? Any closing comments from our panelists?
Be involved and don't be a stranger.
I like that. I like that very much.
We like talking to students, we like helping students, and we like, getting to know them. And the only way we can do that is if you stop by and say hi and ask questions and talk to us.
I like that. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a transfer student, or even if you're in another major, you signed up and you said, oh, I wanted to do management, but now I think I want to do finance. Come by, talk to people. Ms. Donegan should be one of the first people that you talk to. As a transfer student, she definitely will be, but as a freshman, just talking about career placement and where you can go with your degree. She's always available, as are all the folks within the finance department as well. So you've got lots of resources to tap before you come to Towson, and of course, once you officially admit as a Tiger and sign the dotted line and get your place in the classroom in the fall. So don't forget to fill out that paperwork. come to see us. Thank you, Jose, for joining us. Thank you, Quinn. And we'll see our Towson Taggers in a bit then.